Alright, so what we're going to be working on today is a diff cover for a 8.5 Chev GM diff. The cover says perfect launch on it, but it is made by Proform. From what I understand is you can get pretty much any text you want written on there. I just got their generic one. The part number on that is 66668. Why am I changing my original diff cover? I wanted a drain plug and a fill plug. This other jazz here with the bearing supports, I don't know how much that actually does, how much support it gives to the bearing. I'm not drag racing. Maybe I'll go autocrossing or something sometime when I get the car ready and set up for it, but no, it was more for the fill in the drain. Now I've seen a lot of complaints online of the bolts not being long enough, so to my surprise when I opened the package they give you long bolts and shorter bolts. So one is longer than the other. So whatever ones I use, I'll have 10 bolts that are I can put in my drawers, use for another project. So let's get over to the car, jack it up, and get going. Okay, let's get under this thing. My wonderful bed I've set up under here. Okay, so what we have here is a 10 bolt. So you can count the 10 bolts, and it's an 8.5 inch. If you ever want to know how to tell if it's an 8.5 inch, an 8.5 inch has these ears on each side. An 8.2 will not have those ears, it'll be more round. So I have to get out all those bolts, get the old cover off, drain the fluid, clean up the gasket surface, put gasket maker, and put the new one on. The bolts are 1/2 inch. So I'm going to start removing all the bolts around the bottom. I'll leave one at the top just so I can hold the cover in place so it doesn't fall into my oil pan when I get it underneath. Alright, let's do it. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I hate the smell of gear oil. I just despise it. I hate getting it on me, and I know I'll be soaked with it by the end. Wow. Oh yeah, all over. I knew it. Knew it. Yummy. Ah. No metal filings. I'm back under the car. I got all the flange cleaned up pretty nice where the cover will seat. But once again, I've been stalled. So I said there's two different lengths of bolts. See if I can get these here. Two different lengths of bolts. See if I can get this bloody camera to focus for you guys. So the original stamped steel cover, you can see the bolt hanging down. It's got quite a bit of thread sticking out. And hang on. The bolts supplied with the kit, you can see I don't have a lot of thread. So that's not going to work out. So with a vernier I measured, and I'm going to need a bolt that's approximately 1 3/4 long. I have this stainless button head that's 1.5 inches, and it still isn't quite long enough. So I got to order some bolts. So the threads don't start until about 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch of the way in. So if I take the bolt, the good one, and start it in, you can see that. Alright, so in the instructions of the rear diff cover, it tells you not to use a gasket. They suggest using a gasket maker. So I picked up some Permatex gasket maker made specifically for gear oil. The part number on that is 31872. Now they tell you to put a bead around all the bolt holes, put the cover on, and just hand tighten the bolts and leave it sit for an hour, and then come back and torque. So we're gonna do that now. Alright, all the bolts are hand tight. While that bakes and does its thing for an hour, I'm going to loosen off the off these, which were actually already backed off previously, and I'm going to put some silicone on those as well. Now when you're doing this, you want to tighten your casing bolts before you tighten the bearing supports, or else you could damage your bearings. So I got that out pretty far. Grab my tube. What did I do with my tube? I'm getting it everywhere, of course. I can't have anything nice. I always gotta ruin it. I'm also gonna remove the drain and the fill plug and put some Teflon tape just to be sure they don't leak. Okay, so that's baked long enough. Now I gotta torque it. So last year my, let's see if this will work. Last year my garage was robbed and they took everything. I had a TIG welder gone, all my tools that were in a case gone, and I just realized they stole my torque wrench as well. So what I got is, I have this here. This is called a torque adapter. It's digital. We have to torque these to 25 foot-pounds, so I set it up to 25 foot-pounds. Let's see how she works. So this one just, it goes on a regular half-inch socket, or ratchet rather, and it has a light and a digital display. So just like when you're putting your car tires on, you want to do a crisscross torque pattern. Alright, so my camera decided it's just not going to work for me. So what you didn't see off camera is I torqued the bearing supports to 10 foot-pounds and the jam nut to 10 foot-pounds. I don't have a crow's foot that I can put on the torque wrench or torque adapter, so I just did it with a socket. I would rather have had a crow's foot so I could see to make sure this wasn't turning, or I could actually hold it with an Allen key, but I didn't have that luxury. So everything is torqued. Now I gotta fill it with oil. So this is the setup I have on the oil. I bought Pennzoil 8090. I just have a silicone hose that I shoved over the end, and then I just get that in the hole, and then I can squeeze the bottle in. And when I get closer to the end of the bottle, I tip it upside down and I keep squeezing till it goes in. I've already splashed gear oil all over myself. Now the level plug is right there, so I just use a standard 3/8 ratchet and I can pull that out. Alright, so it's all installed. When you look at my car from the back and you just see the fuel tank, you see the bottom of the mufflers, you don't even see the rear diff cover. You almost have to get right underneath, and even at this angle you don't even see the script. I wasn't super fond of the script anyways, so there she is. Anyways, tune back in soon because we're going to be installing the rear sway bar. I'll go something like that. I'm going to use my dad's garage because he has the luxury of a lift, and I'm sick of working on the ground. Anyways, guys, if you like this episode, like, subscribe, leave us a comment. Neither of us are pros, but we try and get the job done. So if there's anything we can do better, drop it down in the bottom.